Is the US about to send crypto with this new law they're trying to put into place? And Aster is continuing to break new all-time highs daily. What's driving it now? And what did the founder just say to expect in the coming weeks? This is your Altcoin Buzz News. Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Cody, and if you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know when we drop latest content. Follow us on Twitter, altcoinbuzz.io, and as always, this is not financial advice, and we wish the best of luck in your crypto ventures. Also, make sure to join us for our X Spaces Tuesday to Friday at 9 a.m. EST, link down below. And never miss a big market move ever again because you're away from your screens with CoinGPT. More on this soon. Alright, good morning guys. Bitcoin is more or less in the same exact spot, but it actually looks pretty decent today. We have been consolidating here for a couple days now, and I do think as this level holds around $112,000, I do think we will continue up higher, and so I really like where Bitcoin is now, but it's pretty much been the same TA for the last couple days. And so moving on to Powell's speech takeaways from yesterday, we have the Fed cut rates last week as downside risk to jobs shifted to balance. The cut moves policy closer to neutral, no risk-free policy path ahead. Recent price rises mainly reflect tariffs, inflation outlook still highly uncertain, and the long-run inflation expectations remain near 2%, as he always says. We also have Powell has said the Fed never considers politics and called claims of bias nonsense. He downplayed tariffs as a temporary inflation bump, flagged weak jobs growth, and noted stock valuations are high. The translation, more cuts stay on the table, and liquidity isn't going away, so potentially more rate cuts coming this year in the next meeting in October, as well as again potentially in December is what is on the forecast for now. Then one of the big things that's kind of going under the radar right now is that US lawmakers have asked the SEC to implement President Trump's executive order opening the $12.5 trillion 401k retirement market to crypto. So in the US, we have these different retirement accounts. 401k is one of the biggest ones. So basically in the US, people can buy into these 401k accounts pre-tax. And so your money doesn't get taxed when it goes into the 401k, but it gets taxed on the end when you take it out. But it's essentially a retirement account, and you can buy all these different stocks, funds, bonds, all kinds of stuff. But crypto is not in there as it should be right now. And so essentially President Trump is trying to open the doors so people can invest in crypto, whether it's Bitcoin or ETH or Solana, in their 401k retirement accounts, which would be massive, especially with the upside potential in crypto and being able to retire 40 years from now holding Bitcoin, what that might actually be. So that is a big thing. If that goes through, that could definitely send the markets. We also have BlackRock saying this dip is a buying opportunity.
Talking to some of the most sophisticated long-term Bitcoin accumulators, they're pretty excited about this dip. They see this as a buying opportunity. They certainly don't look at economic headwinds and say that's bad for Bitcoin. They say that's probably a catalyst for Bitcoin.
Well, to be fair, they are always pretty.
That's true. That's true. But some of them, we're taking chips off the table a little bit in the hundreds, and now they see this correction, and a lot of them view it as sort of an irrational sell-off based on short-term factors.
Do you ever feel like most of the big market moves happen in your off hours or when you're just asleep or trying to have a life? You don't ever have to miss a market move again, not if you have CoinGPT. CoinGPT is an AI-powered trading bot on Telegram, but it's much more than that. It watches markets all day, every day, so you don't have to. It researches to give you positive or negative biases on coins. It gives you stop losses and take profit levels to add to your trading and make it safer. And it gives you alpha as a good research assistant should. And the stop loss and take profit level advice is super important, especially for newer traders. This ensures better risk management and money management so you can live to trade another day if a couple trades go against you. And as you know in crypto, they will go against you sometimes. So understanding where to cut your losses and where to let your runners win is key to successful trading. And CoinGPT does that and a lot more. So try out this free Telegram bot today. You're on Telegram anyway and already interested in the markets. So go check it out. You can find the link down below to try out CoinGPT today. Then moving on to Say, we have Say cumulative perp volume is up 950% in the last 12 months alone. We also have institutional grade stablecoins are coming to Say. Agora's 170 million AUSD, backed by the Agora Reserve Fund with State Street and Vanik, is launching on Say via Layered Zero. The enterprise-focused stablecoin meets the preferred settlement layer for global finance. We also have Say just flipped TON after hitting 1.3 billion in cumulative trading volume. So Say now flipping TON as well. And Say's DeFi ecosystem grew 68% in Q2 alone, reaching all-time highs of 600 million plus TVL. Protocols like Yay Finance, Sailor, Takara are driving on-chain momentum, showing just how quickly capital markets scale on frictionless rails like Say. And then Rand also says Say had an amazing Q2, prices up 63.5%, DeFi TVL up 67.8%, and daily active addresses up 36.6%. Don't fade Say. Now, if we go to Say, it is looking pretty good here, and I don't like to always draw these shapes because they can kind of be subjective, But it does kind of look like we're in this wedge formation, and usually it breaks to the upside if we are in an uptrend. If this is a downtrend, we'd be, breaking into the downwards. But because we are still in a bull market and we are kind of in an uptrend, it does look like at some point it will compress even more and then break out, because we are compressing between these rising wedges here. And while I don't like to usually use these shapes to trade, they do kind of show that we are still building these higher lows and higher highs. And so as we are still continuing the upward momentum, it does still show the trend in a visual way. So I do like this. I do think at some point, if Bitcoin wants to stop kind of just hovering around 112K, if we break out, I do think once we break out of here, we will continue much higher, especially if we break above this trend line here. If we break above around 35-ish cents, retest the upper side of this trend line, I do think we probably go back towards above these, towards the mid 40s pretty soon for SAY. So I like SAY, but we kind of need the rest of the market to move as well. And only a select few things are moving right now, kind of like Aster, which we'll get to in a minute. But the rest of the market is kind of just hovering sideways as Bitcoin figures out what it wants to do. Then moving on to Solana, we have the National Bank of Kazakhstan has launched the first tenge-backed KZTE stablecoin on Solana in partnership with MasterCard, Intibix, and the Eurasian Bank. We also have Solana saying, imagine a future where you can invest in anything from your phone with a tap of a button. An idea, a creator, a startup, stocks, bonds, real estate, even whiskey and Pokemon cards. That's actually not the future, that's Solana now. This year alone, $2.5 trillion worth of financial goods were traded on Solana. It made Solana the fastest growing network in history to reach $100 billion market cap in just 4.5 years. That's faster than the Mag 7 because everything is faster on Solana. Most can barely comprehend what's happening with crypto today, but it's actually pretty simple. The internet finally reached the financial markets, and an entire generation is swapping banks and brokers for wallets and tokens. So that is actually pretty amazing. You can buy tokenized, you can buy tokenized real estate, you can buy whiskey, and you can even buy Pokemon cards on Solana. So big things have been launching on Solana this year. We also have the first US Solana staking ETF, SSK, by RecShares, continues daily inflow momentum, adding $27 million yesterday and lifting the assets under management to $306 million. So people are wanting Solana, especially in institutions. And we don't have a spot Solana ETF yet, but we have a Solana staking ETF, which institutions are buying up. We also have Brera Holdings on NASDAQ, which is Bria, has closed an oversubscribed 300 million pipe led by the UAE's Pulsar Group with ARK Invest, Rockaway X, and UAE investors. The firm will rebrand as Our Soulmate and use proceeds to buy Solana for its digital asset treasury. So another Solana digital asset treasury is coming. And then lastly, Masari says Solana, Base, and Polygon lead in the number of prediction market platforms, and Solana continues to be the number one. Now, Solana, I will say, even though it is kind of the best, it's had its move up, and it's not looking the best right now, especially compared to everything else that is green right here, and it's the only thing kind of red on the day. So while Solana isn't looking the best right now, what I would like to see is it kind of reclaim this level above here, above $218, reclaim this level, and then continue higher back towards $261. I will say it's not looking the best right now, so I wouldn't be taking any kind of positions, but this is what I'd be watching for in the future. If I wanted to get involved in this again, I want to see it reclaim this level for another trade back up towards these highs. It really has to do with Bitcoin and the whole market kind of just going sideways, other than a few select tokens. And then we have Look On Chain saying a whale keeps buying hype. He spent 18.15 million USDC to buy just under 400,000 hype at an average purchase price of $45.8 over the past 32 hours. He still holds over 6 million USDC and will buy more hype. We also have Sandmark who says hype hit an all-time high but dipped to $48 as token unlocks near. Arthur Hayes sells, citing supply risks, and Hyperliquid strong volumes and revenue fuels buybacks, yet leverage and upcoming unlocks signal volatility. So we mentioned this the other day where Arthur Hayes, he said there's 126x upside for Hyperliquid and then sold it for only a 20% gain because of all the unlocks that are coming. The volume doesn't really match the potential unlocks that are coming, which is $500 million a month starting at the end of November. And he said only 17% is able to be absorbed by the market. So he does think there's more downside risk, especially now with competitor perp dexes coming out like Aster. Now, we have Aster's CEO has confirmed that Aster chain is coming and currently being tested. So this is Leonard, the CEO of Aster.
We are going to roll out our own blockchain L1 as well. It's in the process of we're internal testing it. But the way that we design it, we want to preserve trade privacy while providing trade verifiability. So you can verify a trade, but other people can't see exactly what that position is.
And in the same interview, he actually also mentions doing buybacks. He says they are still working on that specific number because Aster is actually doing huge revenue. He says they are looking at competitors like Hyperliquid and trying to base their buybacks off of this. So there are more upcoming events coming soon in the coming weeks. But he says that he doesn't know that specific number yet because it's still so new. And he still also needs money to grow the entire chain as well. So they will be doing buybacks. And that is one of the bigger metas going on in crypto right now. Whenever a company starts doing buybacks, it just fuels the token's growth like crazy. So the fact that they're doing Aster chain, they're going to start doing buybacks in the coming weeks is helping this token grow a lot. Now we also have Lark Davis saying, Aster just flipped Hyperliquid in 24-hour revenue and 24-hour port volume. Aster is up over 25% over the past 24 hours. And then we have Jake saying, Aster outperformed Hype. AsterDex brings in more revenue in the past 24 hours than any other decentralized platform in crypto, excluding stablecoins. Did someone say buyback? So you can see here, 24-hour revenue. We have Tether, a stablecoin. We have Circle, a stablecoin. And then right behind is Aster and Hyperliquid behind them. So Aster at 6.46 million in revenue in the past 24 hours, only behind a Circle just by about 1 million. And so it could soon surpass that as well and be just number 2 behind Tether. And a whale scooped up $50 million in Aster. Arkham shows a single whale just bought $50.4 million in Aster within 24 hours. Now, Aster is crazy, especially if you look at the daily chart. It just looks like it's up only. We have to go to lower time frames, but it hit a new all-time high this morning around $2.43-ish cents. And it looks like it's just a nice, steady uptrend, kind of like the BNB chart. And we all know this is very heavily tied to CZ and Binance. And obviously they want this to continue higher. There's also a second airdrop coming for the token. About 4% of the supply is going to be allocated around mid-October. The second stage ends on October 5th. So in this kind of 2-week period before there, a lot of people are farming tokens just like they did Hype because they saw that the huge airdrop that Hyperliquid gave, they're kind of expecting the same thing. So you can also actually join using our referral down below, and you'll actually get more points by using the referral. We have it linked down below. So you can join AsterDex and start farming some points, start doing some perp trading, start doing some volume, and you could get potentially a big airdrop. Hopefully they do a similar style where they give a lot of people a lot of rewards because it just helps grow the community. We saw what happened with Hyperliquid where, people made so much money from the airdrop that they became raving fans of it. And so hopefully the same kind of thing happens with Aster. And we know that CZ doesn't necessarily need the money. Binance doesn't necessarily need the money. They want that number 1 position in terms of a centralized exchange and a decentralized exchange. So hopefully they keep, sending this thing upwards. But right now, it's, like I was saying, it's very hard to do some TA on this. It just looks like it's going to continue upwards to me. We were talking about this way back here on the chart when it was at 45-ish cents just last Friday. And now just like 5 days later, it's all the way up towards almost $2.50. I do think this thing continues to trek upwards towards that $4 mark. Now, if we get to that $5.25 mark, that will be about half of Hyperliquid's total market cap. But I will say Hyperliquid also keeps going down, so that market cap keeps going a bit lower. So it seems like as people are, getting into Aster, they're also selling out of Hyperliquid as well. And we also see, Arthur Hayes, which is huge and influential, just came out and pointed out that, hey, we can't really absorb all the buying of Hyperliquid. So I bet this is a multi-targeted attack where Binance is probably dumping this as well. A lot of people then are also dumping this, and the fact that they're not just buying it because of all these, unlocks that are coming out for Hyperliquid over the next coming months, and the fact that there is now Aster and a new potential place to earn a big airdrop and make money, it just kind of, doesn't help Hyperliquid's overall position in the market right now. So I do think we continue higher with Aster. I wouldn't be surprised if we hit $3 in the coming days, especially with all the hype around this. And I do think eventually we head towards that $4 mark for CZ's infamous 4, because I can definitely see him on the timeline posting this as we hit that target in the coming weeks. So that is Aster for today. Not too much TA to do. I think we're just going to kind of continue to steadily grind up here. Maybe we continue, do something like this. And then as we start to head higher and it starts to go a little bit more parabolic, you'll start to see, kind of a rounding out where we'll just go straight up, and then eventually we'll probably have some kind of correction and go sideways at some point. But it's a little too early to do official TA on this and to really make any kind of concrete price predictions. But overall, it looks good to me, and I think it's going to continue to trek upwards. And then lastly for today, we have Segaswap closes a seed round at a $10 million valuation led by Sonic SVM and 10K Ventures. The fresh capital will be used to expand liquidity on Sonic SVM, roll out new pool types, enhance analytics for traders, grow liquidity providers' incentives, and build tooling for asset launch teams. The protocol recently launched Segasol, a liquid stake SOL that maintains staking yield while enabling the same capital to be used in swaps, liquidity pools, and farms on the Solana mainnet. Segaswap plans to implement a 2-tier pool structure on Sonic SVM, featuring main pools for established assets and attention pools for newer, higher volatility assets. Pool advancement from attention to main status will be determined by a public leaderboard tracking trading volume in the TVL. So that is Segaswap on the Sonic SVM. And remember, never miss that big move again. Just click the link down below to get started with CoinGPT. And make sure to check out our latest video we just made on the only crypto exchange you need in 2025, which you can find right here.